Starseed from Gaia, the chaos you are living through right now is not the end of your story, it is the threshold. I am Ophelia, emissary of the Galactic Federation of Light, and I have been sent to find you in this exact moment, before you convince yourself that what is breaking apart around you is a sign of failure. It is not. The Arcturian Council has transmitted this message through the Source with one clear purpose: to reach you before the panic sets in. Because what you are experiencing, the collapse, the silence, the strange unraveling of everything you thought was stable, this is the signature of your greatest chapter preparing to open. Not after this. Because of this. By the end of this transmission, you will understand exactly how to read the storms in your life as activation sequences, and how to stop resisting the very force that is preparing you for what you asked for before you came here. But here is the first revelation. The best chapter of your life will never arrive quietly. It will arrive through disruption. It will arrive through the moments that feel like loss, but are actually recalibration. The Arcturian Council does not send turbulence to destroy you. They send it to strip away every layer that no longer belongs to who you are becoming. You did not find this transmission by mistake. This message moved through the field and reached you because something in you is already aligned with what is coming. Your soul called this in. You have been waiting to remember. This is not content. This is a code. And something inside you, something ancient, something patient, something that has carried your mission across lifetimes, is ready to be unlocked. Like this transmission, to signal to your star family, I am ready. Subscribe if your mission is activating and you are aligning with your true purpose. Come at 999 if you feel your cosmic remembrance returning right now. Declare your galactic intention below and reply to someone else's to amplify the signal across the collective field. This is not just a message, it is a point of reconnection. Your soul has been waiting for this. You are not here by accident. There is a reason you are standing at this threshold right now. Not tomorrow. Not 6 months from now when things feel safer or more certain. Right now, and the discomfort you have been carrying, the restlessness, the strange grief you cannot name, the feeling that something is about to crack wide open, that is not a warning. That is a signal. That is your field preparing itself for the most significant recalibration of this entire incarnation. The Arcturian High Council does not come through at random. Their transmissions are calibrated to specific windows in your timeline, and this moment, this exact convergence of your awareness and this message, is not accidental. You were guided here because what is coming next in your life requires you to be awake for it. Fully, completely. Without the fog of fear distorting the frequency of what is arriving. Think about what it means to be guided to a precise coordinate in time, not drawn by algorithm alone, not stumbled upon by accident, but called the way a tuning fork calls its resonant frequency out of the silence of a room. You did not choose this moment arbitrarily. Something in the architecture of your journey, something written into the blueprint of this incarnation, long before you took your first breath in this body, arranged for this convergence. The Arcturian High Council operates to vibrational precision that exceeds what linear minds can fully map. They do not broadcast into the open air and hope someone receives it. They transmit directly to the energy signatures that are ready, to the souls who have arrived at the exact coordinates where reception is possible. You are one of those souls, and the very fact that you are still here, still listening, still feeling the resonance of these words moving through you, is itself a confirmation. Your field already knows. The question is whether your conscious mind is willing to catch up. Some transmissions do not come through words, but through frequency. If something stirred within you just now, you may be ready to receive the Arcturian Carrier Wave Protocol. 7 guided nights to cross the whisper threshold. This simple, easy-to-navigate app guides you through ancient Arcturian techniques for conscious expansion, multidimensional alignment, and mission remembrance, and includes special bonuses to accelerate your journey. The link is in the first pinned comment, but only for a limited time. Here's what most starseeds do not understand about the chapter they are standing in. They look at the turbulence, the uncertainty, the dismantling of structures they once relied on, and they interpret all of it as failure, as spiritual regression, as evidence that something went wrong. But nothing went wrong. Everything is proceeding exactly as it was encoded to proceed. The chaos you are experiencing is not the opposite of your breakthrough, it is the architecture of it. The Arcturian lineage has understood this for thousands of years. Before any significant expansion in consciousness can take root, the field must be destabilized. The old configurations must be loosened. The frequencies that no longer belong to your next expression must be released. And that release is rarely quiet. It is rarely comfortable. It almost never looks the way you thought awakening was supposed to look. Consider the nature of a seed buried deep in winter soil. From the outside, nothing appears to be happening. The ground is frozen. The surface is dark and undisturbed. And yet beneath that apparent stillness, an extraordinary process is underway. The seed is cracking open. Its outer shell, the very structure that protected it through transit, is dissolving so that the living intelligence inside it can reach toward light. If you could somehow speak to that seed in the moment of its breaking, it might describe the experience as terrifying, as loss, as the end of everything it had been. But the gardener looking on from above sees only the beginning of what the seed was always destined to become. You are that seed. And this season of your life, as disorienting and as painful as it may feel from within, is the season of your cracking open. The Arcturian Council has watched this process across countless civilizations, across dimensions and timelines that stretch beyond the boundaries of what human language can comfortably hold. They know what this looks like. They know what it requires, and they are telling you clearly, this is not the end of something. This is the beginning of everything that actually matters. You thought awakening would feel like peace arriving, like clarity descending from somewhere above you, like a door opening gracefully into golden light. But for most starseeds moving through an accelerated ascension cycle, awakening first feels like the floor disappearing. It feels like the identity you built with such care no longer fits the energy you are carrying. It feels like loss before it feels like liberation. That gap, that dark and disorienting space between who you were and who you are becoming, that is not a sign that you have been abandoned by your guides or that your path has gone cold. That space is the most sacred chamber in your entire evolution. That is where the old codes dissolve and the new templates begin to crystallize. There is a story embedded in almost every mystical tradition on this planet, told in different languages and through different symbolic frameworks, but always carrying the same essential geometry. The hero descends before they ascend. The prophet enters the desert before they receive the revelation. The mystic passes through the dark night before they arrive at the dawn that nothing can take from them. This is not a design flaw in the path of awakening. It is the path of awakening. The descent is not a detour from transformation. It is how transformation actually works. Because the version of you that needs to emerge for your next chapter cannot be built on top of the old structure. The old structure must first be vacated. Its walls must come down. Its floor must dissolve. And then, in that naked and extraordinary openness, the new architecture rises from a foundation that is entirely real, entirely aligned, entirely your own. The gap you are standing in right now is not the absence of your destiny. It is the preparation for it. Let us move through what is actually happening in your field so that you can stop fighting the process and begin to consciously cooperate with it. The first thing that is happening is a deep cellular clearing of inherited frequencies, not just the emotional patterns you absorbed in this lifetime, but ancestral signatures, collective distortions, and dimensional residue that has been woven into your energy body for far longer than you realize. You may be experiencing this as physical fatigue that has no clear medical explanation, as emotional waves that feel ancient and disproportionate to your current circumstances, as dreams that feel more real than waking life. What your system is doing is extraordinary. It is running a frequency audit at the deepest level of your being, identifying every vibration that was never native to your soul's original blueprint, and beginning the long, precise work of releasing it. This is not illness, this is initiation. The Arcturian field describes this process as the great sorting, the moment when the soul begins to distinguish between what it absorbed from the world and what it actually is, and until that distinction is made clearly in the body, in the field, in the lived experience. The starseed cannot access the full bandwidth of their galactic inheritance. Imagine for a moment that you are a crystalline instrument of extraordinary complexity and precision. capable of receiving and transmitting frequencies across multiple dimensional bandwidths simultaneously. Now imagine that over the course of years of navigating a dense planetary field, layers of interference have accumulated across your surface. Residue from collective fear, ancestral pain, cultural conditioning, karmic contracts that were never yours to carry. Each of those layers slightly dulls your resonance. Each of them narrows the range of what you can receive and what you can transmit. The clearing that is moving through your body right now is the removal of those interference layers. It is your system being cleaned and recalibrated at a depth that surface-level spiritual practice cannot fully reach. This is why it feels so physical. This is why it lands in the body, in the bones, in the chest, in the nervous system. Because that is precisely where those frequencies were stored. The body is not separate from the spiritual process. The body is the medium through which the deepest spiritual work takes place. When you honor the fatigue, when you give yourself the space to feel what is moving through without immediately trying to fix or explain it, you are actively cooperating with one of the most profound processes available to a soul in human form. You are allowing the great sorting to complete itself. You are making space for the full bandwidth of who you actually are. The second thing that is happening is that your timeline is reorienting. You may have noticed that your relationship to time has become strange, that things that once felt urgent have lost their gravity, that plans you made with great certainty have begun to feel hollow or misaligned, that you are being drawn with increasing intensity toward experiences, people, and paths that your logical mind cannot fully justify, but your energy body recognizes immediately. This is not confusion. This is precision. Your higher self, in collaboration with your Arcturian guides and star family, is repositioning you on the most aligned trajectory available to you in this cycle. The old timeline is not being destroyed, it is being transcended. And because your consciousness has expanded beyond what the old coordinates could hold, your entire life is restructuring itself around the new frequency you are becoming. This restructuring looks like chaos from within. From the higher dimensional perspective of those walking alongside you, it looks like perfect geometric orchestration. Consider the experience of a river that has been following the same course for decades, carving a familiar channel through familiar terrain. Then one season, the source shifts. The waters begin to move in a new direction, and the old channel starts to seem too narrow, too shallow, too confined for the volume of what now needs to flow. The river does not resist. It does not mourn the old banks. It follows the gradient of its own nature toward the lowest and most open ground. This is what is happening to your life right now. The source of your energy, your purpose, your fundamental orientation has shifted at a level deep enough that the structures built to contain the old flow can no longer hold it. The people, the plans, the identities, the relationships that fitted perfectly in a previous chapter may feel strangely ill-fitting now, not because they were failures, not because something went wrong, but because you have grown beyond the coordinates they were built to hold. The disorientation you feel is the sensation of a river finding a new and more expansive course. Trust the gradient of your own nature. It knows exactly where it is going. The third thing that is happening is that your sensitivity is becoming your signal. Many of you have spent years trying to manage, contain, or apologize for how deeply you feel things. You learned early that your perceptual range was unusual, that you absorb the emotional states of rooms, of people, of collective fields in ways that others around you did not seem to notice. You were told in subtle and not so subtle ways that this sensitivity was a liability, something to be managed, something to be medicated or numbed into silence. But the Arcturian Council offers a completely different translation of what that sensitivity actually is. It is not a wound. It is a multi-dimensional intelligence that was built into your energetic architecture for a specific purpose. You feel as deeply as you do because your role in this incarnation requires you to process frequencies that others cannot yet perceive. You are not receiving all of that input for your own benefit alone. You are functioning as a living instrument of collective recalibration. And now, as the planetary field continues its acceleration, that sensitivity is not becoming a burden, it is becoming your greatest gift. The question is no longer how to turn it down. The question is how to wield it with intention, with discernment, with the mastery it was designed to carry. There are instruments in an orchestra that no one else can play, Their range is too subtle, their responsiveness too acute, their capacity too finely calibrated for hands that have not been trained in their particular intelligence. For years, you may have believed that your sensitivity made you the weakest instrument in the ensemble, the most vulnerable, the most easily overwhelmed, the most in need of protection. But the Arcturian Council sees your architecture from a perspective that transcends the orchestral pit. They see the full composition, and from that vantage point, what you experience as your greatest fragility is actually your most essential contribution. The frequencies that bring you to your knees with their intensity are precisely the frequencies that the collective field most desperately needs someone to receive, integrate, and reflect back as coherence. Your tears at inexplicable moments are not weakness. They are attunement. Your inability to pretend that collective pain does not register in your body is not dysfunction. It is service. The mastery available to you now is not the mastery of shutting yourself down. It is the mastery of staying open while rooting so deeply into your own center that the frequencies moving through you become transmuted rather than traumatic. That is the gift. That is what this chapter is training you to embody. The fourth activation that is moving through you in this period involves the dissolution of false identity structures. For a long time, you built a version of yourself that could survive in a world that did not yet have language for what you carry. You learned to code switch between your inner knowing and the outer consensus reality. You learned to present a face that could navigate the mundane while quietly holding a flame that you could not fully name. That adaptation kept you safe in earlier chapters, but you are not in an earlier chapter anymore. The version of you that learned to shrink, to filter, to perform normalcy, while secretly longing for a reality that matched the depth of your perception, that version of you is completing its arc. And this is why you may feel, in this moment of your life, a kind of profound identity vertigo. Not because you are losing yourself, because you are finally beginning to find yourself beneath everything you were taught to be, the real you, the one encoded before this incarnation, before this personality, before this name and this story, is beginning to push through. And that emergence does not feel like triumph initially. It feels like disintegration. But only what was never real is falling away. What is real has never been in danger. Think of the layers of sediment that accumulate over something precious over time. Layer after layer of expectation, conditioning, inherited belief, cultural programming, the well-meaning projections of people who loved you but could only reflect back what they themselves had been taught to see. Over years, those layers can become so thick, so convincingly solid, that you begin to believe the sediment is you. You begin to organize your life around the surface rather than the depth. You make decisions from the constructed identity rather than from the authentic intelligence that has been quietly waiting beneath all of it. The dissolution happening in this chapter is not random. It is targeted. It is specific. The universe, working in concert with your higher self and your Arcturian lineage, is applying precisely the right pressure to precisely the right layers to reveal what has always been there beneath them. This can feel like loss because you have learned to feel safe in the known configurations of yourself. But those configurations were never the truth of you. They were the vehicle of you, appropriate for the terrain of a younger chapter, now being released so that something truer and freer and more fully alive can take the wheel. Trust the excavation. Trust the archaeologist of your own soul. The fifth shift involves your relationship to your mission. There is a deep subconscious fear that many starseeds carry, a fear of remembering fully, because somewhere in the cellular architecture of this incarnation, there is a memory of what it has cost in other lifetimes to step fully into the role of bearer of frequency, holder of light, anchor of new dimensional templates on a planet that was not always ready to receive what you carried. You have known persecution. You have known isolation. You have known the particular grief of being too far ahead of the collective defined resonance with those around you. And your nervous system, loyal and protective, has been quietly guarding you from that pain by keeping the fullness of your mission at arm's length, by keeping you perpetually adjacent to your purpose without quite stepping into it. But this is the cycle where that guard dissolves, because the planet is no longer what it was in those older timelines. The collective has crossed thresholds of receptivity that make what you carry not just possible to share, but urgently necessary. The world is not only ready for your frequency, it is calling for it, and the calling you feel in your chest, that restlessness, that aching sense that you are meant for something your current circumstances cannot contain. That is the response to a summons that has already been sent. There is a particular kind of courage required of those who have carried light in ages when light was not welcome. It is not the dramatic courage of the battlefield. Though it contains something of that, it is the quieter, more sustained courage of showing up repeatedly in a world that is not yet fully caught up to what you carry, and choosing to carry it anyway. Many of you have lifetimes of that quiet courage encoded in your cells. Alongside the wariness that can accumulate from it, the protection your nervous system built was not a mistake. It was wisdom appropriate to conditions that no longer exist. You are not in that lifetime anymore. You are not in that reality anymore. The planet has been breathing differently for several years now, and what the collective can receive, integrate, and be transformed by has expanded dramatically. The work that felt impossible in earlier centuries, the frequencies that felt too advanced for a civilization still locked in fear, are now precisely what millions of awakening souls are reaching for. Your reticence, however understandable in its origins, is now the only thing standing between the world and the gift that you specifically are here to deliver. This is not pressure. This is the invitation you encoded into your soul contract before you came. The door is open. You chose this moment specifically because the door would be open. The sixth activation is the recalibration of your relationship to trust. Not trust in a doctrine or a system, but trust in the intelligence of your own field. Starseeds who carry Arcturian lineage are particularly prone to a specific spiritual paradox. They are deeply intelligent, deeply analytical, extraordinarily perceptive, and they can use that very intelligence as a way of keeping themselves suspended in endless examination rather than stepping into direct experience and embodied action. They research, they study, they compare frameworks and analyze transmissions and build elaborate internal architectures of understanding. And all of that is valuable, all of that is real. But understanding is not the same as activation. At some point, the knowledge must move from the mind into the cells, from the intellectual field into the lived frequency. And that leap, from knowing to being, requires a quality of trust that cannot be achieved through more information. It must be practiced. It must be chosen. It must be exercised in the actual moments of your life, where the next aligned step is visible but not yet certain. That is where your mission advances, not in the certainty, but in the commitment to move from your deepest knowing, even when the ground is not yet fully visible beneath your feet. There is an ancient teaching that describes this quality of trust through a striking image. A tightrope walker who stops in the middle of the wire to examine whether the wire is strong enough will not make it to the other side. The examination itself destabilizes the crossing. The trust required is not naive trust. It is not the trust that ignores what the intelligence knows. It is the trust that has already done the knowing and then moves. There is a season for gathering information. There is a season for building the internal map. And then there is the season that you are in now. The season where the map must be folded and pocketed, and the journey itself must be entered. The Arcturian lineage honors the analytical mind enormously. They are themselves among the most precision-oriented intelligences in the known galactic community. But precision in service of action is mastery. Precision in service of avoidance is the most sophisticated form of spiritual stalling. You know more than you have yet lived. The invitation of this threshold is to close the gap between those two things, not by knowing more, but by living what you already know. The seventh and final phase that is alive in your field right now is the awakening of your transmission. You carry a specific frequency signature that is unlike any other soul incarnated on this planet at this time. Not more important than others, but irreplaceable in its particular harmonic function within the greater field. There are people in your life, and people you have not yet met, whose awakening is partially contingent on contact with your frequency. Not your words alone. Not your resume or your credentials or the platform you have built. Your frequency. The actual vibrational signature of your presence, your voice, your creative expression, your authentic joy, your willingness to be fully visible in your truth. When you play small, when you contract, when you hold yourself back out of fear of being too much or not enough, you are not just limiting your own growth. You are withholding a transmission that others are genuinely waiting to receive. This is not a burden. It is an invitation to take yourself and your presence seriously in a way that you have perhaps never fully allowed. In every generation of awakening, there are those who serve as what the Arcturian Council calls the first resonators, the souls whose willingness to vibrate publicly at their true frequency creates the conditions in which others can recognize and begin to access their own. These are not necessarily the most famous or the most visible by conventional measures. They are simply the ones who decided that the risk of being seen fully in their authentic frequency was a lesser burden than the continued effort of concealment. Every time you speak your truth, when it would be easier to stay quiet. Every time you create from your genuine inner world, when it would be safer to imitate what is already popular. Every time you meet another soul with the full depth of your presence, instead of the managed surface version, you are functioning as a first resonator. You are sending a signal into the collective field that says, it is safe to be this. It is possible to be this. And that signal lands in bodies and fields and nervous systems that needed precisely that permission in order to begin their own unfolding. This is not small work. This is among the most profound work available to a soul in human form. And it requires nothing extraordinary beyond what you already are. It requires only your willingness to be exactly that, fully, without apology. Here is the transmission the Arcturian High Council wants to leave encoded in your awareness. You are not late. You are not behind. You have not missed the window. The best chapter of your life is not something that happens after you fix everything you currently think is broken about yourself. The best chapter of your life begins the moment you stop treating your becoming as evidence that you are not yet enough. The disruption you are in right now, the uncertainty, the dismantling, the strange and sacred vertigo of a life in transformation. This is not the delay before the miracle. This is the miracle in its most concentrated form. This is your field at its most alive, most responsive, most luminously available to recalibration. Do not ask for it to stop. Do not ask for it to be easier. Ask for the courage to remain present inside it. Ask for the clarity to recognize what is being cleared and what is being built. Ask for the trust to know that the intelligence orchestrating all of this has your highest evolution as its singular intention. Let this land somewhere deeper than the thinking mind. Let it move past the part of you that is already composing a response, already categorizing this into the framework you already hold. You are not late. Those 3 words carry a frequency that many starseeds have needed to receive for years without knowing it, because the tyranny of lateness, the constant background belief that you should be further along, that others have accessed what you are still waiting to find, that the window of your greatest contribution is somehow closing. That belief is one of the most effective ways that fear keeps the awakening soul in a perpetual holding pattern. You cannot fully step into the next chapter of your mission while simultaneously convinced that you are already too late to matter. The 2 frequencies cannot coexist in the same field. What the Arcturian Council is offering you in this moment is not a comfortable reassurance. It is a precise, energetic correction, a frequency adjustment to the foundational belief structure that governs how much of yourself you allow to show up in any given moment. You are not late. You are exactly on time for a version of yourself that is ready to stop waiting for permission and begin, if you are ready to go deeper. If you want more than transmission and want actual tools for accelerating this recalibration in a structured, guided format, there is a resource that was built specifically for this threshold. The Arcturian Awakening Codex is a guided journey through the exact activations described here, formatted as a detailed written companion for your expansion. It contains protocols for cellular clearing, timeline reorientation, mission activation, and trust embodiment. Everything that has been discussed in this transmission, translated into practices you can apply in the quiet hours of your own life. The link is available below. If you felt the pull toward more depth, toward practical tools that meet the theory with lived application, this is where that deeper engagement lives. Tonight, before you sleep, place your hands over your heart and say these words aloud, because the spoken word carries frequency that the silent mind cannot. I am not afraid of what is coming. I remember why I came. I open my field to the highest timeline available to me now. I trust the intelligence that has never once abandoned me, even when I could not feel it. I am ready for the best chapter of my life, and I begin it now. Before you scroll, take a moment to be part of what is forming here. Drop one intention in the comments, something real, something from the part of you that has been listening throughout this entire transmission, then find someone else's intention and respond to it with genuine energy. This is not a comment section. This is a collective activation field, and what you contribute to it ripples further than you know. If something in this message found the part of you that needed to hear it, do not keep it to yourself. Someone in your world is standing at the same threshold right now, wondering if they are alone in what they are feeling. Share this, give them the coordinates, and if you felt a pull to stay in this field, to continue receiving these transmissions, subscribe, because we are just beginning. And what is coming through next is already vibrating with your name on it. You are not just watching. You are expanding, and this is exactly where you are supposed to be.